Hi, good night. I would like to speak to New York Times. They allowed Felipe Neto to speak about Brazil and about United States. First of all, Felipe Neto, he never studied anything. He's not an expert in any field. He's not an academic. He doesn't speak English. Nobody who speaks English can make a mistake that wants to say, when he wants to say a disease, he say a disease. Those are two different things. This is like somebody who says he speaks Spanish or Portuguese and say livro instead of livro. Livro, it's a book. Livro, it's to free someone. He prepared himself for this session. That video that he spoke about Brazil. He's not an English speaker. If you call him up alive and he try to speak English, he's not gonna return the call. He's not gonna talk to you. He doesn't speak English. And he doesn't know what's going on in the United States. And he doesn't know the bad things, the damage that he's causing in Brazil. He has 38 million followers, but all his followers are kids. He is destroying the future of this country because those kids are gonna be the tomorrow doctors, engineers, politicians, teachers, and practically everybody that gonna control Brazil. He is destroying all the families. He doesn't represent the values of families. He's against everything. That's like a fashion to be against everything. People young people are making tattooing themselves, getting a piercing, getting drunk, using drugs. All the things they are doing instead of taking care of their emotions, of the real problems. Now, he said that Donald Trump and Jair Bolsonaro are lunatic. Well, you can only say that other person is sick if you study and devoted your life to help people, to cure people. You don't have the right to say anything about somebody else if you're not a doctor when it comes to medicine. When you say that somebody is a lunatic, that's the worst crime that he can commit about somebody. Because he leave that person with no defense. Nobody is going to listen to that person. That person cannot defend himself anymore. You condemning that person like you condemn a terrorist. It took me 55 years to convince the world that terrorists are not a criminal. Terrorists don't have human rights. The terrorism, it's not included in the Human Rights Convention of the United Nations. Everybody belongs to the United Nations. Everybody agreed to that. It took me 55 years. It was very hard to fight against terrorism. Germany and France, they established a group to fight against terrorism after the Munich attempt. The Russian, they have a very good group against terrorism. The Alpha and the Alvin, I guess. Israel does it since 1948. They do that. United States also have. And it's not the Navy SEALs, even though the Navy SEALs, they fight in the air, on earth, and at sea. They have a special group that fight terrorism. That's the only war. And it's being fought, and it's winning. It's winning. When was the last time you had in America terrorism? I'm not in Europe. I'm here in the Americas. When I was in North America, we operate here in Argentina. The attempt in embassy and in the association, Jewish association. When I was here, they show up in the United States. Noam Chomsky said that United States was lucky that Flight 93, the brave people, they avoid the airplane to hit the White House. First of all, everybody know that the president wasn't there. Secondly, if the plane had hit the White House, there will be a new one, a better one. That wouldn't be the end of the United States. The biggest problem, that was a big luck, that the two airplanes that hit the clash into the twin brothers, they hit the building when it was empty, because at Friday, 1700, 5 p.m., you have in each building, you have 100,000 people. It's about 1,000 person in each floor. Now there's a bigger problem. Beneath New York, there's a sewer. How deep is the sewer? It's about 180 feet, 60 meters. The blueprint of New York City is prepared for ocean rise of 180 feet. If the ocean rise, the city is not going to be underwater because all this water is going to be, it's going to go to the sewer. But what is the danger here? That this sewer has all the electricity of the city, all the natural gas, and all the sewer gas. If you explode any bomb in this sewer, you're gonna explode all New York. We are not talking about two buildings. We're talking about 3,000 buildings. And we're not talking about 3,000 people, we're talking 9 million people. So when they disconnect the automatic pilot, the intelligence had to act. And those two buildings had to hit the buildings. That was the best option at the time. Because it was a surprise. Nobody expected those attacks. The Germans used to use that type of attacks. It's called a blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg. Yes. Now, going back to Felipe Neto. First of all, he has to know that we're fighting this war against terrorism, and we need strong people to run our countries. We need people who care about the people. We have people from the left that say that they care about the people, the Labour Party. Back 16 years, you have more and more poverty, more and more despair. So they didn't represent the poor people. They said they represent the poor people, but they were making money, getting rich, billionaire. We have in history, not talking about Solomon the king, because we know he was the richest man in the world, but we know how much rich he was. The three richest people in the new history were Musa. Musa is like a king in Africa. He was the first one. He owns a lot of slaves. He owns a lot of money. He was very rich. He was the richest. The second place was Julius Caesar. Everybody know that for 1300 years, the Romans dominate the Western world. The second richest was Joseph Stalin. So, communism is a crime. You said you care about the people, you said you for the worker, for the poor, but you just say that in order to get rich and get all the money, and everybody becomes dependent on the government and don't get what they need. So here show up Donald Trump, that also was one of my teachers in the 80s. I studied real estate and finance at UCLA. He was one of my teacher, invited professor. He wrote books. I have his books. I have his e-books. And I learned a lot about making money, business. United States, it's not a country. United States is a business. People that are going to United States are going to get rich. If they don't manage to get rich, they live in the United States. Everyone that get offers to make more money outside the United States, they live in the United States. United States is not a country, it's a business. A person to run the United States has to be a great businessman. So everybody becomes rich. Brazil is also a business, but it's a bad business. Look behind me. You have two balls. One you can fill it up as much as you want. That ball belongs right here. Belong to the government. You want one here belong to the people. You can never fill it up. That's the irony of the architect that built Brasilia. That's irony. Oscar Niemeyer, it's a Jewish guy, lived almost 100 years. Felipe Neto, he's not aware of the problems that United States has, the United Nations going through, and Brazil has. He's not aware. He cannot solve any problem. He doesn't even know what is intelligence. Now, Adolf Hitler, The Germans call him Hitler. Hitler. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't kill any animal. He was a vegetarian. But what came out of his mouth caused all the things that everybody knows. Everybody knows. In Brazil, you cannot have an opinion in position of power. Let me explain how it works. If you are the president of Federal Bank and you give an opinion, like the biggest bank doesn't know how to run the bank and it's gonna go bankruptcy, even though it's not true. It's going to become true because everybody will going to withdraw the money and it go bankrupt. Now, if an actor says that, a good singer says that, nobody will take the money from that bank. So that singer can have opinion about a bank because he's not in a position of power. Nobody's going to listen to him because he doesn't understand anything about finance. Now, when Felipe Neto prepares himself to speak in English, a language that he doesn't speak, because nobody make a mistake like he made a mistake, like he did. Nobody. You don't confuse disease with disease. You don't confuse. That meaning that he doesn't know what a disease is, right? He paid a lot of money to learn by heart that speech. We know who is paying this money to him. The worst that this money was stolen from the people. This money is full of blood. This money made a lot of people die. A lot of people lose their fathers, mothers, the loved ones, kids. Our problem, the biggest problem America has, South and North, it's health. And mental health is number one. A lot of professions is going to disappear. A lot of professions we're not going to have anymore. But there's this profession that can't disappear. It's a therapist. And I'm not saying that because I am therapist, because I have also others professions, more pleasant ones. It's not a pleasant profession to be a therapist. You hear the worst things that a person can say. I have pride in that profession because everybody who tried to commit a suicide didn't try again. In average, 57% of the people that try to commit a suicide, they end up killing themselves. So my pride is that I save those lives. I can't save everybody. In order to have more health, you have to increase the number of physicians, doctors, therapists. You can't do that by internet. There are all things you can do by internet, but not this. Every 10 people needs a therapist. We have 7.4 billion people in the world. We need 740 million therapists. A therapist is a person that when you feel bad, you go to speak with him, with her. And you're supposed to feel good after you speak with that person. If you don't feel good, that's not the right therapist for you. You need another therapist with a different kind of key. Every person needs a different key. And he has to be a complete therapist. He has to study psychoanalysis. He has to know your subconscious. He has to know neuro problems. He has to understand about psychiatry. He has to understand about drugs. Everybody say that we have to legalize drugs. But the problem with drugs is that the legal ones kill more than the illegal ones. The illegal ones are dangerous because there's no supervision. Who makes them? Criminals. And if you take out the elements that the drug contain, you can eliminate the elements that make you a drug addict. Now, not everybody that use drugs becomes a drug addict. Not everybody who drinks alcohol become an alcoholic. So why people get addicted? This is very important. Why people get addicted? A person have a problem. When he has a problem, he uses a drug, he feels great. Well, I solved my problem. But in this drug, you have the addiction element, and each time you're gonna need more and more and more until you get to a certain time, certain stage, that you're gonna take this drug just to feel good, not to solve your mental problem. So if you ask the person, why are you using heroin? Oh, I'm using heroin because this and this and that. Well, there are legal drugs for that. And there are illegal drugs that they don't have side effects. People can be treated with legal drugs instead of illegal drugs, having the same results. But you need therapists for this. You need professional people for this. In Brazil or United States, want to free the people from drugs. There's only one solution. Concentrate all the users in one state. And give them the right treatment. Then drug dealers won't have buyers anymore. You can substitute the illegal drugs for legal drugs and having those people be treated with therapy. Everyone who takes drugs needs therapy. Intensive. Now, regular people also need therapy. For the simple fact that if you eat, you have to go to the bathroom. It doesn't matter what you eat. You can eat organic, healthy food, diet food, light food. You have to go to the bathroom. Now we don't have a bathroom for our thoughts. We don't have bathroom for our feelings. We have to speak out. And we have to speak out, not by doing bad things, blaming people, putting fires, killing, cheating, saying awful things. We have to solve those problems with professionals. They won't charge you, won't judge you less. Confidential. There are things that nobody's supposed to know about you, that you're not proud of. Now, Felipe Neto, he committed the worst crime in the book. Article 26 in Brazilian law says that if you slander or create an act of defamation against the president of the country, president of the Supreme Court, president of the Senate, president of the House of Representatives, here are called federal deputies, have the same task, the same job in the Congress. You have to go to 5 to 15 years to jail. Now, if you're proud of committing those crimes, then it's not jail time anymore. Then you're considered a terrorist. You don't have any rights anymore. You're gonna be charged in my court. and that is the death penalty. That's not a game. We're not playing game with terrorists. Your 300 million, it's not even $50 million. This is not enough to fix the damage that you caused. You're gonna lose that money. And we need more money to fix. So we're gonna know who paid you to cause this damage. We're gonna know. Now it's everybody against you, including the left. When I got into the human rights of the presidential government, I joined the Labour Party because there was no right party. And the Russian asked me to break the stuff of communism in Brazil. No communist country, ex-communist country, are interested in communism anymore. No, ex-communist country. China is not a communist. China is a dictatorship, extra capitalist. They care only about money. They don't care about the law, they don't care about their own people. There's a time that if you need any transplant, organ transplant, you could go to China and get it. They will kill a poor Chinese, take his kidneys, his liver, his heart, his chest, and sell it to you. You don't want people like this running the world. This is worse than Hitler. Hitler was bad for everybody except the German. Ask the German if they like the Hitler time. They like the Hitler. They had to. Make the German people all beautiful. The Scandinavians, they made the same thing. Racial clinic. A woman that was not good in studies and was not good looking was sterilized, couldn't have kids. You think it's by chance that the Scandinavian looks so good, so proportional? Any Scandinavian, if he wants to immigrate to a different country, they give him right away the citizenship. Germany wants to do the same thing. But they err when they start killing people. So, racism. Everybody is a racist. Everybody wants to better his race, if you can call it a race. Because our DNA is compatible to the monkey, orangutan, 98%. 2% is it's our intellectual development, only 2%. You can better our race from the outside. Hair, color of skin, body, shape of body. But you cannot control intelligence. Two geniuses can have a retarded kid. Two retarded can have a genius kid. You cannot control intelligence. The biggest difference between man and woman is that man's blood create more oxygen than women blood. 3 times more. The organ that uses the most oxygen is our brain. God didn't give everything to one person. Didn't give everything to a man, didn't give everything to a woman. Gave to women things that didn't give to men. But also give men things that didn't give the woman. Like intelligence. This is not right. That women persecute men because they have more brain and don't want them to study, don't want them to be smart, want them to be ashamed of being man, charge them for sex. Animals, or the worst animal, don't charge for sex. This is terrible. This is wrong. There are 1 billion women more than men in the world. Women have all the females' organ, 100%. Why we have rape? Why we have men that pay for sex? Why we have men that have to pay to get married? They cannot even manage sex. This is wrong. This is wrong. A woman to get pregnant, she doesn't need to go to court. She's smart enough to get pregnant. She's smart enough to have sex with it. Now, once she wants to kick you and just want to make you a slave because she doesn't give anything back, this is worse than slave. Then she goes to court, slander you, then tells only thing bad about you. She don't tell good things about you. And everybody expect to get rich from that misery, from that destruction of family. That is the tactic, strategy of communism. You have to make your homework. You have to study about Anthony Gramsci. Karl Marx was a genius, but it's not applicable. His theory doesn't work. I saw it working in the beginning in Israel, called kibbutz. In the beginning. After they got rich, it didn't work anymore. They tried. It didn't work. So, what did the communism did to the Americas and in Europe? They attacked the weak, not the strong point, the weak. The Chinese have a book called The Art of Sun Tzu. Yes. They are very naive. Very naive. The Chinese are very dumb. Because in a war, if you know how your enemy is gonna fight, how he thinks, you already lost. You win in a war only by surprising the enemy. The Chinese has no surprise. The Chinese they are so weak that they built a wall not to be invaded. The Chinese lost against everybody. They lost against Portugal, Macau. They lost against the English. English sold drugs to China. Got them all addicted to drugs, opium. That's why they made so many kids. They couldn't control themselves. They lost against Japan. They lost against Korea. The Japanese used to throw by airplane fleas. So again, they would scrape themselves until death. They prostitute the Chinese woman. The Chinese hate the Japanese. And they didn't forget anything. The Oriental, they don't forgive, they don't forget. The Chinese don't believe in God. They are worse than the devil. The devil believes in God. I don't believe in the devil because a creature that came to destroy, to steal, and kill, at least it's a liar. I don't believe in liars. There's good and evil. There's good and devil. Above both, there's God. People who don't believe in God, you don't know what to expect from them. They are not human. They don't have a place outside China. What I can do as a maritime judge, 33 years, ship's captain, ships. You know that there are ships in the ocean and there are spaceships. And I'm registered in Washington, D.C. as a scientist. I do not work for NASA. I don't belong to NASA. Don't ask me anything about NASA. I do not know. I can prohibit China circulate in international waters. If they do, they will lose their ship and what's on it. I can send as a doctorate degree in engineering, aerospace engineering, and doctorate degree in nanotechnology. Everybody knows what is nanotechnology. Nanotechnology, everybody knows. I can send all the satellites to the sun. I'm gonna penetrate, cracking. I'm gonna shut China. All the cell phones, they have chip. You can send a sign. Also, you can send electricity. You can do that. There's a technology to do that. The same way that you can fill a cell phone with energy, electricity, you can empty. I can empty all the cell phones. They won't be able to use cell phones anymore. Can you imagine a country like China with no cell phones, with no internet? They declare war against us, the West. Now, I am in a difficult position. I am a United Nations heritage, responsible for the culture, science, and education of 195 countries. First of all, everybody has to have a cell phone that he can use his thumb, and then it can speak up, can use the phone, and not his own. Everybody can take everybody and use with his thumb, because we want to know who's making the call. That's the more important thing. Who is making this call? Yes? And it has to have the right temperature. All the bodies in the world has the same temperature, right? You cannot cut somebody's finger and use his finger to use the cell phone. We want to know who is using that phone. And internet should be free. Everybody should know the truth. If you know the truth, you know what to do. The problem that we have is that people don't know the truth. So they have the right solutions for problems that are not the real problem. You come to a physician. If you have heart problem, you don't say you have an eye problem. So the new order is that we live in an era, the intelligence era. If you want to be an ignorant, ignore everything, then it's up to you. But people will have a choice whether to know the truth or to believe in lies. Now, if you give a color to truth, what color it will be? White, like Snow White? Now, if you're not prepared for the snow, you will freeze to death. You will actually die. You have to prepare for the truth. And it takes time. So you have to protect the kids. They are not ready for the truth. Felipe and Neto are destroying kids. They are not prepared for the worst. They first have to be prepared. They have to grow up. But they have to play. They have to believe that the world is a good place. They have to be strong. A little kid had fears. Imagine you, a small person, and everybody's big. A kid have full of phobias, full of fears, trauma. It's true that you're not supposed to teach your kids beating them up. But Shusha made a law that you cannot punish the kid with touching your hands, not even a symbolic touch in the butt or in the hand. Well, Shusha made a movie. Amor, Estranho Amor. Love, Strange Love. Love, Strange Love. Where she makes love to a 9-year-old kid. A 9-year-old kid. If you make a movie, that's not the first time you had sex with a 9-year-old kid. That's a statutory rape. In Brazil, it's estupro com violência resumida. This is worse than pedophile. A person considered pedophile if he send pictures of naked kids. But the act, this is a terrible, terrible act. Now she feels guilty. So she went to Congress, and she feel like she have to protect the kids. But she made 1 billion real, 1 billion real, doing wrong to kids. And that's right, we need to educate better the fathers. Because nobody is born a father, a mother. We need to teach the kids better, of course. It costs money. And it's gonna take Xuxa money to do that. We have a saying in Brazil that a person is a master of his silence and a slave what he say. She compromised herself. In my court, she gonna be convicted of her crimes. In 2016, the Congress said that there's certain crimes that doesn't have a time limit. You just have to show up with proof that you have a case, a win case. Our system are going through a reform. Cases that have no proof are not going to get in the court. A woman, and that's biblical, a woman cannot testify against her husband. This is in all religion, not just Jewish religion or Christian religion that actually is not Christian, because Jesus Christ was never Christian. He was Jewish. He was a Jewish rabbi that saw how good is a religion and wanted everybody to have a religion. That's what he wanted. He didn't want somebody to write a religion 4 years after he died and call it Christianity, using his name to make a new religion. If he comes back, he will close all the churches, all the mosques, because the Muslims, the Jewish, the Christian has the same father. And Judaism, Christianism, and Islamism is according to the father, not the mother. If it was according to the mother, in Solomon time, the Jewish belief ended because he didn't have a single Jewish wife. All his wives, concubines, they were all not Jewish. Now, rabbis say that Jewish is a child born from a Jewish mother. And it's awful. It's terrible. The explanation is terrible. They say that you never know who's the father, but you certainly know who's the mother. Well, a woman doesn't know who's the father. He's a hooker. This is not a normal thing to be a hooker. They call it a bitch. And the son is a son of a bitch. So I hear here a guy called Leandro Carnal, a professor in the university. He's a very good professor. He has a lot of patience. To be a professor, you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to read a lot. And so far, I didn't see anything wrong doing according to his say. But when he said that to me, that when he talked about Judaism, he said that it's according to the mother. That's not a Middle Eastern belief. It's according to the father. Because when a woman marries a man, she doesn't belong to the family of her father. She gets her husband name, and she belongs to the family of her husband. So we have a guy here that think that everybody is dumb, and this became like a sport to offend our leaders, to try to take his power, and in a situation that we are in a war. I had a situation in a battle in Lebanon when I was in the Israeli army, IDF, Tzahal. There's a soldier run away from battle. The penalty is death. The penalty for treason is death. The penalty for a soldier run away from battle, it's death. It's not court martial. I'm horrified by some people's behavior. We had a Minister of Justice called Sérgio Moro. He thought only about himself. He made everybody believe that he's against corruption. He became a hero. For a simple judge, he became a Minister of Justice. But then he showed, as he was not even a lawyer, he didn't know how to defend himself from slander, defamation, from false accusation. He didn't know how to defend himself. And then when he didn't get what he wanted, he came out of the government and stopped telling everything about the president he doesn't like. He slandered the president. He didn't prove anything. I looked into his studies. He made a doctor's degree in law. What was his doctor's degree about? He defended abortion. And he said the legislative power, the Congress, cannot make any laws because they are all in simple words, dumb, stupid, Legos. They don't understand anything about anything. Even though they were elected by the people of the country. And who has to make the laws are the justice system. This is against our system. We're not a country of jurisprudence. We don't have degrees of jurisprudence. We don't teach jurisprudence at school. If a judge doesn't like the other judge opinion, he's gonna lose the case. Now, if he doesn't like the law, he still has to obey the law. Our system, it's laws, not jurisprudence. So he made a doctor's degree based on crimes. That's an illegal degree. He's not guilty that he made this degree. They defend the theory. Who is guilty? The people that gave him the doctorate degree. Hitler is not wrong what he said. Wrong are the people that follow him. Because a person talking by himself and nobody listens has no power. He's gonna lose his doctor's degree and all the other degrees and all his money. And what he made is considered spying. Spying. If you are in a party or if you are in a company and once you don't belong to this company and you start saying bad about that company, you can what? Spy? That's against the law. In Brazil, private detective, it's a crime. It's not a legalized profession. So, that's exactly what a woman does when she goes to court suing her husband. She can't do it by law. She can't go to police and complain about her husband, about anything. Because the woman who living with you, she knows everything about you. Then, because this crime becomes a crime of espionage. She spies on you. She knows everything about you. She lived with you. Oh, so what is the solution? Simple. Very simple. Don't fight. A physical violence, it's never the first violence. There are many other aggressions before. knows how to hurt a man emotionally, intellectually, more than a man. And a man can hurt a woman physically more. Now, any crime involving guns is it's a crime of cowardness. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. Nobody gonna survive a shot in the head, no matter how muscles you have, no matter how big you are. We have in Brazil and United States big percentage of cases. Women suing men. Women want to take revenge on men. They come in front of a judge telling all the bad things. And the symbol of justice, it's the balance. What about the good things? The judge will never know. And when you swear in front of the judge, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. If you don't tell the whole truth, you're lying. Like the Miranda right. You have the right to remain silent. Everything you say can and will be used against you. Not anything. It's against the law. Everything. When you say something that the person said in front of judge, you have to say everything. You cannot choose the things you're going to say, because you're lying. You're lying. If you arrest a person and you choose the things that you're going to say just to damage the person, you're lying in front of the court. You're on the oath. And that thing that a lawyer don't have to swear to say the truth. That's the most dirty thing, the dirty profession that exists. It was never like this. Now that we have an internet, and I'm going to make everything that everybody will have internet. You don't need a lawyer anymore. Everything that you're supposed to do under the law in every country, it's in the internet. What you're not supposed to do is internet. It's in the internet. What do you need a lawyer for? To lie? So you build universities, you teach people to become a liar, because the truth, the whole truth, only the person knows. He has to go tell the lawyer, and lawyer, no, you don't have to say this, you have to say that. Teach you how to lie in front of the court, knowingly. We don't have space, money to pay for this anymore. A woman go out to shopping, her husband. We do not participate. I give a good example. My neighbor, she goes to Disneyland with her husband. She go to dance. She go to sing. She goes to the restaurant. She go to Disneyland. Go to Paris to see Paris from the top. Eiffel Tower. I'm not invited to anything. Well, when they fight, they want to use my money to fight. They use the police, they use the sheriff office, they use the public defender, they use the promoter, they use the judge of appeal, they use the psychology, they use public services, social services, and I have to pay for it? No more. If you wanna fight with your wife, if you wanna fight with your husband, use your money. So then you're gonna think twice if you wanna fight. If you can't fight, you don't have money to fight, live in peace. Don't cause problems. Especially when you have kids. When you fight in front of the kids, you make those kids grow up and have mental problems. And they come to me. And I can't solve everybody's problem. Because it's one-on-one. One-on-one. You create a problem that there is no solution. And when you come to Felipe Neto, feminist group, and call themselves left wing to justify their existence. They call themselves left wing. They're not left. There's no left in the world. There's no left. There's no right. You have right body and left body. You don't have right and left in politics. You just have right and wrong. And the media, I study so many things, and to become a journalist, you have to study in university 4 years or 5 years, depending if you have enough time. That if you have to work, it takes a little bit longer. And then you have to work in a famous journal to get a card. To show that you are a journalist. It gives you some privileges. I didn't spend any time studying university journalism. I didn't spend any time writing about writing in those local journals. I have doctor's degree. And I went to state Supreme Court. And I talked to Supreme Court president. And he said, prove to me that all the journalists doesn't know what they are talking about. And I got out with a license to be journalist. Journalists talk about medicine, they are not physicians. They talk about law, they are not lawyers. They talk about engineering, they are not engineers. They talk about politics, they are not politicians. Those are all sciences that you have to study to understand. Undergraduate and graduate, you just learn. You start teaching when you have a dissertation. You're defending a PhD or a SD, science doctorate, which is harder. To be a scientist is harder than to be a philosopher. And we hear a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about, and they get paid to say what they say. Like Felipe, Neto, like Xuxa, like Maria do Rosário. I don't believe that what she's saying, she believes in what she's saying. I studied enough neuro psychiatry and psychoanalysis and social behaviors. I have a doctor's degree, 2 doctor's degree in sociology. East and West sociology. Philosophy. You can only treat with clinical philosophy people who are a philosopher, because that's the language. A person who is a philosopher, to talk to him, to convince him, to explain him, to teach him something, he had to be a philosopher. That's his language. Every science has its language. You can't talk to a doctor like you talk to an engineer. You cannot talk to a lawyer like you talk to a bus driver. It's a different way. Intelligence, everybody has. God didn't send anybody without intelligence. But nobody is total intelligence and nobody is total dumb. Meaning that people who are dumb can make excellent decisions, and smart people can make bad calls. When somebody is running a country, you need to help that person by all means, because it's going to affect everybody. Yes, there was a campaign, campaign of conservative campaign against blacks harassment. I keep talking about slavery like it was a bad time, like they're the only one that were slave. That was the work system in the world. There was no unions. Everybody was slave. It stopped because a person that is not qualified costs more than he produced. That's why slaves perish. All the people that have slave accumulate damages, losses. Now, who created the middle class was the Masons. They start teaching professions to people that are not allowed to learn professions. They were not from the dynasties, the royalties, the monarchies. And they paid with their lives. They paid with their life. Who created the union in the United States was a Jewish by the name of Jimmy Hoffa. There's a movie about him. You can watch the movie. He disappeared. He was born in a place called Brazil, in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. The blacks didn't fight for freedom. The white fought for freedom. They didn't want, there's a party, one slave, the other party didn't want slave. And if they didn't like the blacks, they'll send them back to Africa. Africa, they sold all the people that they didn't want for slavery. And the white people did everything to better the race. Food was very expensive. People worked in the past only to eat. It was all organic. The bird saw the fruit before you. We're not alone. We have bacteria. We have animals beneath the ground, above the ground. We didn't have venom, all type of venom that we use today. Today you collect everything. It's very cheap, the food. But it's full of venom. In Brazil we have 2,000 cases, new cases of cancer each day. 2,000. We're talking only about cancer. A slave cost between $5,000 to $10,000 in the United States. In Brazil, it's in real. You have to pay in gold. The gold today that you pay for a slave, it's about $200,000. You calculate the gold for in the price, using the price, the world price. In the Jewish religion, it's prohibited to have a slave because all the Jewish people were slaves in Africa, in Egypt, for 420 years. So every year we celebrate the Passover, and we are not slave anymore. And it tells you, remember, do not have slaves, because you were a slave yourself. But some people are very stubborn. They want to have slaves. So the Bible made certain laws. Yes, you can have slave up to six years, and you have to be responsible for all his needs. You have to be responsible for security, food, health, and family, and living. And in the seventh year, you have to set him free, and you have to give him enough money not to become slave for anybody else ever again. So it was very expensive to have slaves, so it wasn't a good deal. So they just hired people. They never had slaves. No Indian, no white, no black, no yellow ever became slave in the Jewish family. But the Jews don't come to a black person and say, look, I was slave in Africa for 420 years, now you owe me. The thing is over. Those people, slaves dead. The people that were slave is dead. It's never gonna happen again. But now, the Far East, China, that slave, they have no religion, they don't have no history to be proud of. They have no God. They slave their own people. Can you imagine what they're going to do to you if they get more power? They will block the internet for everybody. They will control the media. They will make you believe that they're the only solution for your problems. What philosophy the Chinese have? Confucius said that less you think, more happy you are. That's a philosophy of ignorance. Less you have, much happier you are. They not following even their philosophy. They saw our weaknesses. They create feminism. They saw the woman awake. if you convince them that they have a boring life and they are being used, and women are devils, men are devils, and that they should create movements and encourage gay life and freedom of speech, they will destroy the West. Don't be angry of women. They don't know what they're doing. I ask God every day to forgive women for what they're doing to the West. In Europe, in the Americas, they are destroying family, they are destroying men, they are destroying the economy, they are destroying everything because they're being used by a system that is smarter than them. The jobs are going to disappear. When a man have more money, he will take care he'll take care of more women, more kids. Women don't grow up thinking that she has to make money to take care of a man. Jobs had a high paid before women enter to the workforce, and things were cheaper. Now things are more expensive and jobs are not paying what you need to have to support your family. Men are losing their families, being forced by court to pay for a woman that have sex with somebody else. All those injustice that's happening in the West are the source of crime. I'm not gay, but crime between gay are very low because they really care. Men really care about men when they're gay. They don't oppress men sexually. It's very sad that if you're not gay, you are being oppressed by a woman. Your sex life is terrible. In a party, a gay have sex with 10 men. It doesn't happen if in a heterosexual party, it doesn't happen. If you talk to a woman and she likes you but you don't like her, and you're gonna talk with another woman, she's gonna go and destroy, your temptation for another woman. You're gonna go and slander you. I'm gonna go out to a party by yourself. If you at a party that you met someone and she became your girlfriend, you won't forget about this party. While I'm saying that the East is gonna win, we're all gonna be slaves of the East and the Middle East if we don't compromise and limit the power that is given to the woman. The Muslims that come to America, they don't like how women behave, how women dress. Women say that they can do whatever they want with their body, it's their body. They can abort, they can kill. Now, when I interview a serial rapist, he told me the same thing. I can do whatever I want with my body. But I said, yes, but you're stronger, you can force. Yeah, who gave me this force is God. So that's God's will. So a woman has to be careful what she says because that can be used against her. The same argument that women use defending abortion is being used by rapists. The same bullets are being used, the same weapons are being used. Nobody cares what you do with your body if you're a woman, but not when you have a baby inside of you. It's a life. Your body doesn't belong to you. In this time that you're pregnant, your body belongs to nature, belongs to the baby, doesn't belong to you. Everybody comes from nature. We eat nature. We are nature. We are what we eat. When we die, we go back to nature. We are owner of anything. Everything belongs to God. The Torah has about 800 words. It depends in what language you're writing the Bible, because some languages you need 2 words to explain 1 word. You won't find the word thank you. You won't find the word please. In Hebrew is toda or bevakasha. You won't find. Why is that? Nothing is ours. And everything belongs to everybody at the same time. You don't need to implore for things. You don't need to thank for anything. Everything belongs to God. And that's the same in the native languages of Indians in South America, Aborigines in Australia. Now that thing that it's mine, everything belongs to me, I'll sue for everything you have, I want everything. Those crimes are against God. There's no forgiveness. And you see that nothing you do goes right. See yourself, what you're doing wrong. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to trust anyone. You don't have to believe in anyone before you trust yourself and believe in yourself. Don't tell me you believe in God if you don't believe in yourself. Don't tell me you love God if you don't know what love is. That's why you live, to learn some certain things. You have to be better than yesterday and less than tomorrow. When I learned Japanese, they taught me that it's one of their philosophies. Latin language is very important, very dominant. You can learn Japanese and write in Latin letters. It's called Romanjin. You could do the same thing in Chinese pinyin. Maltese is a Semitic language, but you can write in Latin. The Hebrew language has 15,000 words. English has 500. You can use English when you speak in Hebrew. It's called loazit. If you want to speak high Hebrew, Ivrit Secha, what they say, you have to use more than one word to say a word that doesn't exist in Hebrew. But sometimes people won't understand. English is a very important language. You want to discuss politics, geopolitics, medical solutions, science. You have to be able to understand everything in English. All the sciences, beside Brazilian law, it's all written in English. To make a valuable dissertation, you have to read everything that's in that field that you want to have a dissertation. You can make a doctor's degree in Italian. They have doctor in Italian, but you have to be able to understand academic and English. You don't get into the university in Israel, any university, if you're not able to understand academic English. Now I'm going to speak about the accent, English accent. Portuguese countries and places, they all get together and they decided to speak in one way they call it prosódia. The S between two vowels in Portuguese receives the sound of Z. If you don't want the sound C, if you want the sound of S, you have to have two S's. In German, they have the SZ, but the new reform, you can use two S. And you have one way of writing, which is called orthographia. It's a Greek word, means ortho, write. Graphia, writing. So you don't have a mistake of orthographia, because you don't have a mistake of writing. You have a mistake of graphia. Only Portuguese has it. Only Portuguese obey that. Everyone who doesn't obey that is ignoring the agreement. It's called ignorance. English doesn't have it. French doesn't have it. Russian doesn't have it. Arabic doesn't have it. Spanish doesn't have it. Every place you speak different way and have a different accent. So accent is not that important. It's important what you're saying. An accent is just an imitation. Just an imitation. Now, the French write small. They write petit, but they don't pronounce petit. The P, they pronounce pu. And they don't pronounce the last T, petit. So if they want people to pronounce it right, why they don't write it petit? P-U-T-T-I. In English is I. Why they pronounce it in a way that confuse people? English, they spell B-U-S, but they say bus. Where is the I here? You put U to spell A, full. You have two O, but you pronounce U. Then I heard a person that work in the New York Times complaining about the accent. People read how it's written. That's how people read. You write Brazil, so people put an Z because they want to pronounce Brazil. Because if it's have an S in Spanish, it will be Brazil. But in Brazil, the L in the end, they pronounce U. So people ask me, why they don't write Brazil with a U? Because a U also has an accent. You stress up the U. So you're not going to say Brazil. You're going to say Brazil. When I went to Brazil, I like Brazil. Unless you put a hyphen, and then you put the O. Then you change the whole thing. It's going to be a different word. So, a lot of people that come to Brazil cannot pronounce yes and cannot pronounce no. Because Spanish and Italian have A, E, I, O, U. 5 vowels and 5 sounds of vowels. Portuguese have A, have E, have O, have O, have I, have E. Now going back to know in Portuguese. Everybody in Italy, everybody in Spain, they pronounce now. They don't pronounce no. They don't have they have a. No. What is the reason for that? Because they want to distinguish who is Brazilian, who is not Brazilian. The Spanish people cannot pronounce sim. Yes, sim. Because they don't have in. People have im. They don't have sim. So they pronounce si. So yes, it takes some time to pronounce right the language, but only Portuguese reach an agreement, a consensus that you speak one way and you write in one way. All the other languages, it depends where you are. Right? In British Guyana, they don't say lawyer, they say liar. And but what is important is that what you're saying, that people understand what you're saying, and your intentions are to be good. If you speak with bad intentions, you're never going to be happy. Unless you are a psychopath. And a psychopath is not a happy person. A sociopath is not a happy person. When a person wants to kill himself, he can't imagine what's going through in her or his mind. You can't imagine. It's very hard to learn that. Because you have to feel those terrible feelings to be able to help that person. It's very hard to be a therapist. Extremely hard. I studied so many things. That's the hardest thing. To be a therapist. I'm not saying to be the best one. All the other things is hard to compete. But to be, it's not as hard. The easiest profession that exists in the world is to be a lawyer. Too hard is to lie. That's the profession. And we don't want that anymore. We don't want the bad people to win anymore. We want the good people to win. We have to unite all the good people in America, in Europe, because the bad people already united and winning the game because they have patience. They have knowledge of you. They have knowledge of themselves. And they are ready to make any sacrifice. China, in order to control the world, they're ready to give 500 lives. 500 million lives, be exact. Be careful. Be careful to let them in. They only sell trash. Today I went out with an umbrella, expensive umbrella, not a cheap umbrella, expensive, made in China, automatic. It broke. I can't return it to the owner, but because this store doesn't exist anymore, everything you buy from China that breaks become trash. Our money is not trash. It takes jobs. And who make money out of it? People who don't care about the jobs in America, South and North, and wants to make money quick. And now they are losing everything. So we need strong people. We need Donald Trump. Yes, but he talks saying it doesn't matter how the person talks, how the person looks, his action. There's one problem with Donald Trump. There's one problem about immigration, okay? Everybody that comes to the United States and is a consumer is legally in the United States. If you pay taxes, you're legally in the United States. Everybody that comes to the United States, that they call illegal, is legal in the United States because he needs services, he buys things, he provides thousands of jobs. He needs a tailor, he needs a doctor, he needs an accountant, he needs a lawyer, he needs an engineer, an architect, all those professions he needs. How many professions he's able to take? One. And what are the professions of the illegal immigrant? The professions the Americans don't want to do, can't do. Agriculture, you have to be very small to work in agriculture. The Spanish are small. If you're tall, you're gonna work in agriculture, you're gonna have back pains. That's what they're doing in France. They have temporary jobs collecting grapes. They hire only kids. Only kids can do that job. Adults will be able to do that job. So, what we need is a better health. Brazil doesn't have a problem with unemployment. We have a problem with qualification. A person who is qualified have more work than time. But what happens in Brazil? After the person is qualified, he doesn't have health anymore. There is no, men don't take care of their health. They don't have hospitals for men where they can come in one day and they have all the specialties in this hospital and they take care about of all their diseases and go back to work so they can support the family. They can give what the kids need, what the mom needs, what the family needs to keep the house. So we need to think of our health problems. Men have more oxygenation of blood in our body, and because our body is made of blood, iron base. Our organ less of woman organs. That's why people are looking for organs that belongs to women or last longer. There's a black market for other organs. What is more important? Money, intelligence, or health? You can live with somebody else's money if that person gives to you. You can give it somebody else intelligence. But you're gonna live with your health. If I have to go to do dialysis 3 times a week because my kidneys doesn't work anymore, I cannot send somebody else. So what is more important? Health is more important. I'm not saying the other things are not important. Everything is important, but as a priority, we have to put health as a priority. And the system in the West are killing men, and the East using it. They know how to use it because men in the East and in Africa is like God on earth. And men in the West are slender, demonized. They only show in the television the bad guys, drug dealers, murders, rapists, scam artists, and every day the same news. Different people. This is not news. We're gonna want to see something new. News. We want to see solution to our problems. Enough suffering. Why can't a TV program show something that makes everybody happy? It's so hard. Why nobody know that I exist? The United Nations International Force give me 5 indications for Nobel Prize. Nobody knows about it. When they gave me, they tried to kill me. I was 5 months in the hospital. fighting for my life. It's a miracle that I'm still alive. I came out blind. No kidney, no pancreas. I operate my eyes, I can see again. I wasn't able to see. Stable. You're afraid to go out of your house. This is worse than when I was a POW in the hands of the Hezbollah. I only succeed to get the list because I'm not an Israeli. I never accepted the citizenship of Israel. For reasons that I cannot tell. They asked me why I am in the Israeli army, first liner. So I had to tell him that my father forced me to serve the army. Because in Lebanon, if a son in Syria also, the Hezbollah, if a son refuses to go to the army, the father executes the son, kill the son. So I was able to convince them that that was the reason. They never knew what I was doing in the Israeli army. Because they would chop my hands. Every fighting engineer, every pilot, they chop their hands. Can't fly again. They can build bombs, can build simulators, drones, satellites. And they even told me, I'm so nice, I don't even look Jewish. That was funny. Well, I have to say, you're very nice yourself. You didn't explode so far. You're terrorists that didn't explode. And we even play soccer together. I was a goalkeeper. But they were so bad that they didn't shoot the ball direction of the goal. I couldn't help them to make the goal. I would let them make goal, play really bad. But nobody created totally good by God can be destroyed totally by man. Everybody have a good part and a bad part. You have to be able to extract the good in everyone. And women have to do that, have to learn that. They have to learn to be women. Women have this intelligence to make out of every man a great man. They have this. And they have to stop to compare themselves with other people. Everybody have to compare themselves with themselves. Better than self. Gandhi said, be you. The difference that you want to see in this world. Control yourself first make of yourself a better person. That's my first video in the English language. I hope I made some contribution by you spending time listening to what I have to say. Good night, everybody, and thank you very much.